In the name of God. One of the blessings and benefits of emotional intelligence is that it enhances and develops our personal skills, helping us to develop our personality. A person who is going to make the decision to increase, or rather develop, their emotional intelligence will have many positive traits. The first one will have self-awareness of their own emotions. They will understand when they get irritated, when they get angry, when they are in a good mood, and when they are in a bad mood. It means to study oneself and one's own feelings, one's own emotions. That is the most important thing in order to later manage your emotional situation once you know yourself well. For example, when I am hungry, I will be very impatient. I will be very fragile. I will be very emotional, and I get irritated easily. When I encounter a problem in my studies that has no solution, I can no longer bear it and I will become an impatient person. So I am going to study my personal situation in each circumstance of life, and we will understand where and when we are feeling positive and where and when we are feeling negative emotionally. Once we study all of this, we will understand our preferences. For example, I care about this material thing or that thing, or I care about these emotional matters, or these tasks that work, etc. When you are going to understand what your preferences are, you will analyze whether it is right or wrong. Is it right or wrong that I give a lot of importance to food? If it is good, we will enhance it, we will develop it. If it is bad, we must heal it. Otherwise, we will worsen the situation every day. After we have the plan for how to manage us, we can develop our positive skills, control our feelings, and enhance our abilities to achieve our goals. There are many examples of this. When I really want to go to sleep, or during vacations, when I really want to enjoy my time off, right after those vacations, there are exams. So, in order to succeed and do well on my exams, I need to dedicate all my vacation time to studying, which I don't like. Then I realize my preferences. I prefer to have a good time, to entertain myself, to go on vacation. And I see that this is wrong and goes against my goals. Now the intellect comes, it controls my emotions. It will silence an emotion that wants to go on vacation and what I like, and awaken another emotion that wants to study. So by controlling all of this, it will lead you to a balanced life. You will enjoy your pleasures, yes, 2001, but you do not let your pleasures control you. Once a person manages pleasures and enjoys life, that is fine. But once life is controlling them and their emotions are leading them, that person is doomed to lose their life. Who are the drug addicts? They are people who have liked the drug you sent, and then at another time, after trying the drug, they continue to consume it to the point where they lose their physical health, becoming addicts, who do not think about the consequences because the only thing that matters to them is what they enjoy, regardless of the consequences. So, the first skill that emotional intelligence gives us is to know ourselves in order to manage ourselves. And another thing, we are going to have self-awareness of our emotional state. When we understand the emotional state in each situation and recognize the role of each emotional state, we can maintain the best emotional state to function better and achieve better outcomes. When a person can manage themselves, They will always remain in the best situation, and the performance of their life will increase. Concentration in studying will increase. Concentration at work will increase, because you are the one who decides for yourself, not the emotions that are often provoked from the outside, caused by external factors that are uncontrollable. For example, in our material life there is always pain, illness, death, loss, ruin. These are always material things. One day you lose your job, another day you have an accident, you lose your car, another day a close friend is going to die, and that is the material life. So the external causes are uncontrollable. Therefore, every cause always comes to provoke an emotion in you. Your brother, whom you love very much, is going to die, so this is going to hurt you. You no longer have to earn more for work. Just imagine, now he has a job interview. If you can't control your emotions over the loss of your brother, you lose the job bet. And there are many other examples that if you think about them a little, you will understand. When you study your emotions, your preferences, and how to control your emotional state well, can you then analyze each day how you have managed your emotional state today? You are going to say, look, today, if this happens, then I will decide this, and that is the best for me. Analyzing your attitudes after acting is the most important thing to understand. How far we have come to success. You can even take a notebook and, anticipating your emotional state today, say to yourself, I'm going to wake up at 6 and I should be fine, or I shouldn't feel bad, tired, and I won't want to go to work. How am I going to handle this? Think about it carefully. And then, at such and such time I'm going to have this class. I hate the teacher. So how can I manage this class time to not miss any material and not lose my study? You will handle it one by one, anticipating what is going to happen to you today. And this is very important for later at night to analyze what you have done. So, to gain control, we need to make a prior decision and then act. At the moment of acting, we must have our intellect present and not leave it in the hands of emotions. Not just say, relax. No, brother, we haven't come to relax, we have come to take responsibility. Always say, take responsibility, take responsibility. Every act has its consequences. The believer takes into account the consequences of each action. Therefore, the believer will never fall into betrayal, fornication, or lying, because they are always taking very good care of themselves. In Islam, this is referred to as, in many Islamic narrations, stating that if a person does not possess these 3 characteristics, they are no longer considered a good believer. Mosharete. Setting preconditions means anticipating the situation that you will face today and deciding to act according to intellect, with compassion, and to do what is right. I will say a lot today. I will act in that way. Previous. Intellectual. Decisions based on piety, modesty, and fear of God. This calls a lot. Later, during the day, I will control myself. Yes, I will have compassion present, intellect present in every decision, in every action, in every attitude. It's called morokebe, hua. I am going to take care of myself. I am going to watch over myself, my decisions, my attitudes. And in the end, at night, morokebe. And in the end, at night, what we are doing is calculating mohausebe. We are going to calculate it today based on what we have done in a notebook. We are going to write down that sin, this. So when we are going to calculate it, we need to account for what we have done wrong and what we have done right. If it is a correct fact, we say, Alhamdulillah, this God I will not be proud of what I have done, because success is from God. So how are we going to continue increasing the good deed? How have I controlled myself? And if I have sinned, will I regret it? God forgive me. I will not repeat it. Repentance means determining not to repeat the sin. So, if we have seen the sin, we decide not to do it again. The next night we will do the same, and we will see that twice. For example, we have committed a sin, and on the third time we will once again make the decision not to repeat the sin. So we can also impose rewards and punishments on ourselves. What does that mean? If I see that I am going to keep repeating that bad attitude, which goes against my goals, that sin that will lead me to hell, then I will impose punishments on myself. The punishment can be to take away a pleasure. For example, tomorrow I will fast, or I want to go to a certain place, but because I have done this, I will prevent myself from it. To deprive myself of this means I will not allow myself to do it. I will not enjoy this topic anymore until a certain day, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days. So this is how you will control yourself. It means that your emotional state will be determined, controlled, and limited, instead of allowing wild emotions to make decisions in your life. Every day you are falling into sin, and in the end, the emotions will fade away, leaving you with disappointment. It means you are going to desire a sin. These are temptations from Satan. He will adorn a sin and present it very beautifully. It is a pleasure. Look, brother, we are going to enjoy it. And without thinking about the consequences, you enter into sin, you commit the sin, you continue sinning, and in the end, the emotions fade away, they will fall away. One Sunday morning, you will wake up and only see the consequences you must face. You are responsible for this. So now disappointments are going to hit you. Demoralizations, hopelessness, and all those negative feelings caused by leaving your life in the hands of an emotion. But on the contrary, when you let the helm be guided by intellect and intellectual decisions, taking into account the consequences, today you will study hard, tomorrow you will pass the exam, and afterwards there is always joy, there is hope. Because when you study your life, you will see that you have made every possible effort to achieve your goal, and now you feel successful. Successes always pave the way for achieving another success when they are planned and intentional, not by chance. For example, winning the lottery is not correct. Coincidences also fade away. What remains is a well-planned life, which reflects the character of a believer. The believer has no randomness in their life. Everything is planned and anticipated very well. And in the end, the result of all this is self-confidence. You know, a person who has self-confidence necessarily has success. Why does someone not feel disappointed when they fall? Because they have self-confidence and trust in God, believing that God will help them. They will make strong decisions, have no doubts in their choices, will determine things, will be a good leader, will not be a weak person, will not be someone who cannot decide for their life, will not be inconsistent. They will enter a low point, but after some time, they will not lose everything. Instead, where they enter, they will achieve success. They will be a self-confident person because they have always won. They will be a person who always wins, not an emotional person, not someone who is always losing. How many people do you know who, when they are about to hand their lives over to sin, to emotions, and allow the helm to remain in the hands of temptations, today they are falling on one side, tomorrow falling on another side. Every time that person is presented with something that has a bit of pleasure, a bit of flavor, that person will immediately fall for it. A beautiful woman passes by and starts to receive lewd looks. She has no control over her emotions, is always suffering from disappointment, and in the end, it leads to a lack of self-confidence. They no longer have self-confidence, lose self-confidence, and suffer. When you lose self-confidence, when you fall, you don't have the desire to get back up. Losing that self-confidence leads to losing motivation, losing hope. A person who loses hope is like a death. In a life without hope, there is no success, and it is a life completely cursed. What we in religion call a blessing is this. The blessing means doing a good deed. And through this good deed, God will open the way to other successes for you. And the curse means that when you fall into sin, one sin will bring you so much disappointment that it prepares you to fall into the next sin, and so you will continuously continue in sins, and that is the worst for a person. Seek the path of blessing, which is the path of intellect, the path of making intellectual decisions with strength and compassion. You will seek the pleasure of God, but here, through temptations, selfishness, and ambition, you will fall into emotions, the temptations of Satan. Then you will lose initiative, lose success, and lose self-confidence. Well, finishing that part, we have understood that through emotional intelligence we can develop personal skills and we can achieve self-confidence and hope. May God bless you, and in the next class we will talk more about the topic. Peace be upon you and the mercy of God and His blessings.